Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we are here. I just realized, I think we're out of order. Are we out of order?
No.
I guess we're always this way. We're discombobulated because we're at my house. I'm going on a trip and I was like, I have to pack and things, so you guys come to me. So here we are.
I'm still not packed. I'm staying at her house.
Oh yeah,
I'm watching the animals.
she's coming over to watch my fur babies, and so she's got to pack too, but not as badly as I have to.
Yeah, because I can. If I forget something, I can run home.
You can't run home.
Well, I mean, I can call home and say, Eve, I forgot something.
This is what I'm working on today. Look. Ooh.
My version of that is much smaller.
That's okay.
But
it looks great.
It's coming out okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm working on other
So
things.
this is the Casapinka / Sharon from Security.
So I'm not showing mine again. I just showed it.
Oh, a Snark-o-meter shawl.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of
Mystery
fun.
knit-along.
Yeah, it's a mystery knit-along. I'm about halfway through Clue 2. It's very interesting. Maybe we'll talk about it in story time because I have a lot to say about what she's done with this pattern and what she's challenging all of us to do. So, let's just say I'm at the point in this where I have to put a mistake. Think about that for a while. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm about to intentionally put a mistake in my knitting. But that's me. That's all I'm doing because I am ready to out of town and go.
In my mind, like Kramer says, in my mind.
I'm already there. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna go move my daughter into a new apartment and celebrate Eli's birthday and just have a little mini vacay. So.
Well, and see the place where you and Mark met. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
you've been back.
We've
You've
been
been back
back
since. But I mean, it's always nice to.
actually, we can't. When we took her as a freshman, we got to go to the school and go into what is now their practice building, which used to be their old dorms.
I'm talking about Boston in general.
Oh yeah, Boston in general, but now we can't go into the school anymore because of.
If I went back to
TV.
Boston, I'd go back to the museum and sit there some more.
Oh yeah, which one? Isabella Stewart Gardner?
I don't know. I went to
Had
see.
like a big courtyard in the middle.
I didn't see any of that. It was within walking distance of your school, of your apartment. I don't.
I think I hear cats killing each other.
Oh, sorry. It's the puffy tail freak out run of the morning. Meow, come here, honey. Come here, Calvin. What are you crying about? You gonna make an appearance?
The tail.
He's all pooped
Down.
up.
I wish you could see it.
It's like
His tail is like this big.
Bottom brush.
and it's not like he's mad about anything. He just gets all, his back's all.
The museum had some National Gallery paintings in it.
A museum of fine arts.
Yeah,
And
and
that is walking
I
from
walked.
school. I'm sorry.
He just
present.
He's being a cat.
Zooming around.
I just saw him run up the wall. Oh my gosh.
I walked there, and my intention was just because I had some time. You know, you were in class or something, and I had a lot of time, and my intention was to go see as much of the museum as I could. And I walked into the room that had some paintings of Washington, you know, the unfinished one that you see on the dollar bill, and just, you know, these National Gallery paintings, but of early America, and a lot by
Oh, sorry.
Now he's
Welcome
enjoying
to the
cat
wildlife show.
cat antics.
So I walked in there and I carefully looked at the paintings, and I just sat on a stool and just stared at them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful
Because
building.
because you couldn't just look at it and see everything. You needed time, you know, and by the time I was ready to move on, I was like, oh, I guess I need to walk back now. And I went to see her when she graduated. That's but I was there earlier than the rest of the family, and so it was May.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh,
we're
so-
just laughing. He's trying to tell a nice story.
No.
My cat is. Phew, phew, phew.
And the I've been living in Florida, and Florida is much like here, where you know things grow all year round, but you don't get spring flowers.
Mhm.
And there were there were places that you could walk by that had just bushels of
Oh, I
spring
know,
flowers
it's
that
so
you could
beautiful.
buy, and they smelled so good, and I was like,
I love Boston in
"Oh."
all its forms, except for the
So
super humid, icky part. But
Which is when you're going now.
well, yeah. Actually, they said it's gonna cool off, so
Yeah.
it'll be nice. Calvin, what is your problem? We may have to pause, and I may have to go check his food bowl because maybe he's hungry, but he's just acting out. I don't know why. I think Hobbs is hiding from him.
weren't they fighting or something?
Yeah, a little bit. But Hobbs, sometimes when Hobbs is like, he crawls under the couch and just snoozes there, and then Calvin gets kind of unglued. Like, I don't know where my brother is. But, no, I love Boston. I cannot wait. And, so Eli hasn't been back since we took Hannah her freshman year. And, so he's really anxious to go back. We're going to do the duck boats, and we're going to do more, a little, because when we were there, we didn't do duck boats. So the duck boats in Boston are, it's like a tour bus, and you go to all the main sites, and then the tour bus goes down a ramp into the river and floats down the river because it's an amphibious vehicle, and the drivers are always really punny and funny and tell funny stories, and it's a really nice experience. So he's never done that, so we're gonna do that probably on his birthday, and we're gonna take him to Little Italy for dinner, and so he hasn't been back. And when we went, we did a lot of school orientation stuff, and we did a little bit of touristy stuff. So we're gonna sort of try to flip that a little bit, and then I have to rent a U-Haul and drive in Boston. So
Good luck with that.
yeah.
Yeah, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, they had duck boats out there also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they would do a tour, through Hot Springs, and then I guess it was the Arkansas River. It's there in town. I mean, the Arkansas River, goes through everywhere. So I think that was the body of water. But yeah, there's amphibious vehicles that are, I guess they're like World War II.
Yeah, they're quite old.
Yeah, surplus vehicles. Yeah.
Now I'm lost.
So, did you talk about what you're working on or whatever?
I do want to talk about. I finally finished this bag, and it's got a cute little bunny. I'll take a picture later.
Bunny charm.
A cute little bunny charm, and I showed you the notions pouch before. This one is just a little bit narrower than the others, but it should still be plenty big for all your projects, because like I have this, and you can see that it fits in here, so
That's nice. I need a.
yeah.
I just
So-
realized, I was supposed to start my showstopper piece in September.
Mm.
Anyways, I don't have a bag. Do I have a bag? I mean, I have lots of bags. Don't get me wrong. But I don't have one of those bags.
Yeah,
No,
and
but I have a whole tree of bags.
Okay.
Quite tall.
it's not quite tall enough, but it's the same height as the other bags. It's just that this thing is.
Extra long.
Yeah.
This is 11. The paper that's in here is 11. So this makes it, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12
Yeah.
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 But
12 and a
still, I mean,
12
a
and an
regular
eighth
paper
or something.
pattern and all your
Yeah.
notions
Yeah.
and stuff.
The pattern itself would fit in there just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and Beth has a different version of this, but so even though it's a little bit narrower, for those of you who sew, you will understand my pain. When I was cutting these out, I would cut out a whole bunch at the same time, and I don't know how. I ended up cutting just this top part too narrow.
How funny.
And I don't even know how it happened. And I have more of this fabric,
Well,
and
for
I was
heaven's
gonna
sake, Eve,
recut
every
it.
once in a while you're allowed to make a mistake.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you have to.
But I was like, well, I'll cut out another one. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with that? It's like a weird shape. I mean, a weird size to be able to use in any of the other things that I normally do. And I could have cut it up and used it for, quilting patterns or whatever. But then I said, no, it's only a little bit.
Yeah.
And I made a narrower seam allowance, and then just went over it again just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
It'll be fine.
and so I'm like,
It'll make someone a very nice bag.
but I love the pattern. It's so cute.
It is very
These little animals are so cute. This chick gets me. I mean, with his little headdress on.
I love it.
Yeah.
And there's cactuses and stuff. Yeah.
They're dressed in their Native American dress.
A fox and a raccoon and I guess it's a quail or some kind of bird.
A bunny,
And a
a
bunny.
fox, a raccoon, a bird. Two different birds, but they're kind of the same bird.
I just like the color scheme of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I love the colors, and it has saguaros, and I'm glad that my son doesn't watch this channel. So when we were before we moved here, we would come back and forth through Flagstaff. We don't go to Albuquerque through Flagstaff anymore. But at that time we were, and as you drive up toward Flagstaff from Phoenix, there's this forest of sorrows as you're driving up there, and as we're driving up, Robert said, "Look, Mom, they're saying I surrender." So now every time I see sorrows, I think of that.
Yeah.
And these sorrows are saying, I surrender.
Fun fact about saguaros: if when you see them, if they have arms, those arms don't start to grow. So most of them, not most, but some of them you see they're just one stack, like one stalk. And then the arms don't start to grow until that cactus is 75 years old. And I can't remember how slow they grow. It's something crazy, like
It's very
an inch a year or something like that. So if you see some of those really, I'm going to insert my cat is going crazy. I'm going to insert a photo of a saguaro that I don't think is any longer. I think it either fell or they couldn't have taken it down because they're protected. But there was one on a drive up north that the last time I drove up there, I didn't see it. It's amazing. And I took a picture of it, and it had a traffic sign next to it, and the traffic signs are about, I even looked it up, they're like 6 feet tall, and it's dwarfed. That traffic sign is dwarfed next to it, and it has so many arms. And I think, how old is that cactus? It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I think I still have that photo. I hope I have the photo. But yeah, it's amazing. He's going crazy. I'm so sorry, my cat is going crazy.
Speaking of cats.
Yeah, speaking of cats. But before you do your thing, I'm going to interrupt and say thank you so much to all of our new subscribers. We are approaching 100 very quickly. And when we get there, we're going to celebrate with a really cool giveaway.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere and tell your friends to subscribe, because we're going to have a giveaway, and it's really neat. It's coming together real nice. So I just want to say that.
Oh, and thank you for all the fantastic response we have gotten for the 411 project.
Yeah.
We have the most generous viewers, and we are so happy.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and already the response has been really great.
We didn't bring the fabric.
Oh, that's
that
okay.
We're
We're going to show
I
it
was
all.
going to show the fabric.
So we've gotten some fabric already. We've gotten some gift cards and some donations, and
the fabric didn't have who sent it. Didn't have a name or anything from who sent it. So
yeah. But
we don't
thank
know.
you.
But yes.
And so that's exciting, and we will keep you posted on that. Calvin is running back and forth and back and forth. He's on some kind of a mission. What's the matter, Calvin?
Nope.
Oh, what's wrong?
My dog is sick. I don't know. She's not sick, but it's not, something's wrong. She seemed fine on the way back from the groomer.
Oh, you didn't finish talking about what you're working on.
I am working on. I finished my.
Oh,
mouse.
in the foreground here,
There's a little mouse.
there's a little mouse.
That's
You can
the
see it.
my August cross stitch camp piece. Just Nan's crystal
something?
Snowlady mouse.
And it's
It's so tiny.
so tiny.
It's so cute.
I don't know if you can even see it. We'll take some up close photos, but it's got a little metal tail, and she's all stitched together, little
Is it?
arms. It's amazing. It's so all that work. Oh wait, I'm pushing it out of camera. All that work, that little tiny mouse, but it's beautiful.
And then I chose to work today on stitching with the Housewives and to all a good night. For some reason, I have trouble remembering the name of this pattern. And part of it is because Beth kept saying the name wrong. I'm like, no, that's not right. Yeah,
Show
so
the pattern.
I'm not showing the pattern.
You could kind of see it when you were looking at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't
Anyway,
steal the pattern.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Don't steal the pattern.
If you can pause it and find that little pattern, you have
Yeah.
you have
I accidentally
greatest
showed
showers.
part of it last week.
Yeah.
I just, didn't.
We try
Yeah,
not
I
to
should-
because people can pause the video when they
Yeah.
the pattern.
I didn't
which we don't
intentionally.
want to do that.
They would only been able to steal half.
That's true. Like one house.
Okay, speaking of that, it's very serious. There is a designer. Oh, the designer of the little
Happens to
mouse.
designers all the time.
The little mouse that I made.
Mm.
That lady, her name is Claire Garland.
Oh, the little stuffed mouse.
And she goes by Dot Pebbles Knits. Someone, I wish I could remember the name. I would tell you so that you could not buy from this person. Took her patterns verbatim and photos straight from the thing, and passed them off as her own.
Oh my
And
God.
said, I love knitting from nature, because she does, so Claire Garland does all kinds of animals like that. Remember I said there was an elephant and the mouse, and she, this beautiful chicken pattern that I bought, and a bunny, I think, so all kinds of bunnies. She works very hard to make them lifelike. They look like actual animals. They're just, and there's like I have a book of hers called Woodland something.
I
And
think it
it's
was
got-
that chicken one you had posted a picture
You
of.
thought it was a real
and
chicken?
I thought it was a real chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she works very hard and they're very hard to make. I told you when I made that mouse. So, but I mean, the mouse is more cartoony, but her animals are remarkable. There's one in the book. There's one of a fawn sleeping like in a circle, and they look real. So she works very hard, and her patterns are beautiful, and she's in England, and somebody stole them and passed them off on her website saying, oh, I'm so inspired by nature and and all this, and her patterns were right there, and like this bogus story of how she came up with the pattern and all this, and it was horrible. I guess it got shut down because I saw a thank you from her.
And you
on
can
her
also
Instagram.
get arrested.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
No,
don't.
it's a
don't
serious
steal
crime.
pieces.
But
Stealing intellectual property.
it happens,
burns
and
me.
it was so sad. I felt so
Well,
bad
that
for her.
happened to Stitchy Princess, I think is what the name of the designer is. And he posts pictures of his patterns and stuff, so people will buy them.
Mhm.
And they're on Instagram. They're pretty up close, but you would have to go through so much work to steal his patterns. To steal the patterns. Why go through that much work to
Money.
steal somebody else's stuff?
Ugh.
You're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
What I thought was really puzzling, because I can kind of understand if you want to steal somebody's stuff
To make
for
it-
money.
Oh, yeah.
But when in my previous life, when I lived in Little Rock, I was big into writing fan fiction. So I would write a lot of. I wrote a couple of X-Files stories, and I wrote several Big Bang Theory stories and like that. And so, but one of the things about, there were people who would write stories and post them on fanfiction.net and a couple of other sites. But one of the things that was happening was that was plagiarism. People would take a story. There was one person who took a story and did a like find and replace. It was a Mulder and Scully X-Files story. So everywhere in the story that it said Mulder,
Your geek is showing.
I know, and everywhere it said Scully, there was like a find and replace, and they used characters from, I think it was the one with the vampires, the sparkly vampires. What is it?
Twilight.
Twilight. They
Sparkly vampires.
That's all I never saw the show. I just know that phrase. But anyway, wherever it said Mulder, they used the guy's name, and wherever it said Scully, they used the girl's name, and they just basically copied the story, and passed it off as something they had written, right? And so they had all these fans that, oh, I just love their story, blah blah blah, and somebody said that story was stolen. Somebody else wrote it about Mulder and Scully, blah blah. And they're like, so what? And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, they're not doing it for money, but they're doing it for attention.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing. Some people consider that more important than money.
It was absolutely crazy. And that somebody was, and it's like, I'm like, you have like no shame, that you're just like saying, oh yes, I wrote all this, it's like.
Well, if we've learned anything about the human race, we know that they don't have any shame.
Yes.
Some people, not most, but some people just don't. So.
Well, one thing, like if you steal an object, and like if you go into a drugstore and steal a box of Band-Aids, and then sell that box of Band-Aids, you're still, stealing is stealing. But when you steal intellectual property, it's much more difficult for an artist to prove that it's theirs, and to get recompense for it. And all of us who would be interested in a YouTube like this, we do cross stitch and all these other things. We're not interested, at least I haven't met any or seen any online, in purchasing from somebody other than the actual designer of, or where the designer gets credit and money for the design. But musicians who write music, the music's out there for people to hear, and there are people that can listen to it and write it out. So it's very difficult to prove. Some writers, after they write their book, they mail it to themselves, so it's postmarked with a date.
Yeah.
Some musicians do the same thing with their piece of music, so that it's postmarked, so they can prove what day they wrote it. So that if somebody says, I wrote that first and they stole it from me, they can prove that that's not so.
What's really hard now with the proliferation of the internet is
Pardon me.
anything that's that's posted online.
Sorry, I'm fussing through my bag.
That that someone can take that, whether it's like I experienced, whether it's a fan fiction story, or now with patterns posted online or whatever, that that it's much more difficult to keep track of that. And then once something is on the internet, it's out in the wild and it's loose forever, and it gets passed from this person, and this person might not know that it was stolen from that person, and it goes on and on and on. Like Kitten Stitcher was talking about how she bought a what do you call it, Prairie Schooler pattern, and Prairie Schooler is very well known, and there's a lot of people talk about the old original what do you call it? Thicker cardstock version of the patterns, and then because a lot of them are out of print, there's newer versions that have been reprinted that are on a lighter weight paper. So you can kind of tell the old originals and the new ones. But so she saw one online and bought it, and it wasn't until she got it in the mail that I think it's on like heavy cardstock, but she got it in the mail and she said you could just see a shadow of where it was photocopied. Oh, no, she said what made her suspicious was the shadow of where the sticker was, the price sticker on it originally was.
Oh, wow.
And you could just make out the shape, I guess, of the sticker thing. And then she could see, when she looked at it more closely, she could see the shadow of where it had been copied. And this person was selling it that as if it was an original, real, copy that he had. And so she had, she had to report it and everything else, but
and that's the
yeah,
if you do see it,
and the thing is that she was
report
saying, how many times was that sold to
Right.
people who maybe didn't notice any of those things, and they paid this guy, and how many times did he copy it and sell it, and you just like, it's just so hard to keep track.
And
of
I don't
things
think
like
that when you're walking down some city street and some guy in a raincoat, opens his raincoat and says, "Do you want to buy all these, whatever these watches?"
cross-stitch patterns.
It's stolen or a knockoff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think
$200 purse for $20.
yeah, well, like with Blackbird Designs now, with one of the designers having passed away, they were always popular. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
people are looking for them a little bit more intensely. And I can just see how somebody's going to want to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, my nephew Eli likes photography. And I want to try to help him work with that as much as I can. And we talked briefly about, because some of his pictures are actually quite stunning.
He's got a really good eye.
Mm-hmm. They're beautiful. And we discussed briefly if he wanted to sell them on our Etsy site. And I'm like, but I'm going to have to put watermarks in the display. And that is so that somebody can't just steal his picture and then just sell it as their own picture.
Right.
And that's a real danger with that type of art. Even if I do a painting, like the turtle. Now that turtle was never photographed in a way where you would photograph artwork. It was just like, look what I did. But if I was trying to sell it, I would get a particular type of a photo of it, and I would have to watermark it, because then I don't want people selling it like it's a print, and it's so hard for so if you see me accidentally show a pattern, it is an accident. and until I was listening to Priscilla on Stitching with the Housewives, and she says, don't even show pictures of free patterns, because I don't want to have to try to double check and see if it's free. And when I first was starting Flosstube, I wasn't really sure I knew I couldn't show patterns, but like the Candy Heart chart doesn't have a photo.
Yeah.
And it's a free chart.
Yeah.
And I was showing it, and then I was like, you know what? That is also not okay. Even though you can go to, and I said, it's free. Just go get it from Fat Quarter Shop. Or
Don't you jump
if
down.
you jump on me,
He's not jumping. He does not jump down that
It's
way.
like
he looked like he was going to.
He threatens.
So-
he's laying down.
So, you got his Spilkus out?
Hopefully. Who knows?
At DMC, their patterns don't have pictures. They have some really nice free patterns because they want you to buy their thread, you know?
Yeah.
And I've been working on, not lately, but I've been working on some of their stuff. And my idea in September, you know what my showstopper is going to be? To finish all my freaking books. No, I'm kidding. But you know, it's like the dilemma of, well, I want to show this. It's a free pattern. I want to show what I'm working on, but you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And we haven't let Beth show what she's working on.
What are you working on, Beth?
Well, right now I'm working on a knot. Okay, I'm just gonna let that go for now.
Sit.
And I don't have the photo. Speaking of patterns and photographs and this
So
and that
knock
and the
your
other.
drink over.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get my tattered, beleaguered midnight meow. I'm working on.
So cute.
I worked a little
That's
bit also on this
old,
winter
old,
gather.
old,
Yeah,
old. Is this as old as me or what?
the copyright on it is 1992, and I was thinking that is probably around the time I bought it because this is one of my oldest whips, and it was a little dimensions kit.
It says Jiffy. Does that mean you're supposed to be done in a Jiffy?
Yeah. But so, and okay, the pattern, you know, it came with this 14 count Ada, and on the pattern it says to use 3 threads, and because I have a
Disorder?
I like even numbers.
You're a direction
Yeah,
follower?
I'm always
it's,
teasing her. Like,
yeah. that
I'm
is
always
a disorder.
teasing her. Get 3 M&Ms. Get 3 cookies. 1. She won't.
Five.
She won't do it.
But
likes even
partly because I was a relatively new stitcher, and partly because I had used the loop method from the beginning because Eve taught me, and she taught me how to the loop method to start things. And so that part of it was, so I didn't want to use 3 threads because that would mean, you know, 3 individual threads, and I wanted to use the loop method. And so what I ended up doing was using 4 threads. So I had 2 lengths of thread doubled over, and so they made 4. And so, when I started this one, that's what I did. So this little kitty, and the white on this kitty, I had started, you know, using 4 threads. So they're very thick, and the coverage is great. But it's really hard to cram 4 threads through the hole, and then 4 threads through the hole again when you do the next one. You know, so it's very tight, and it's a little bit. You can kind of see it's a little bit messy, where, you know, getting all those threads.
And wouldn't you split them more and all
Yeah,
that
it's
stuff?
really hard to not split it. But then, so I had started on this, and then I had put the threads, I guess, in a thread box or something like that, and then I had basically kind of forgotten that I had this whip. And at one point, I was going through and organizing my threads. I'm like, what is all this stuff? These threads are not marked. They weren't on bobbins. They weren't on thread drop, whatever. And anyway, I just threw them away apparently. Because then when
that is hard to believe.
Yeah,
That you
it
would
is.
just throw something away because you like to keep things
Yes.
forever.
And so then when I found this whip again, I couldn't find the threads. And because it was a kit, and because this kit, they have the dimensions numbers on there don't correspond with DMC numbers. And so I just eyeballed this with DMC threads I have. I just eyeballed, you know, the colors and the whatever from the photograph basically, and say, well, this looks like this, and this could be this color, and so I did it that way, and so I went ahead. I was working on this white cat, and I talked about last week, last Saturday on my update about this issue, because I didn't want to do the 4 threads anymore, but I didn't want to pull it all out and restart it, and I was like, I don't know if I do 2 threads on these other cats, will it be a very noticeable difference or whatever? And I had a lot of comments from viewers saying, just change it. Like one person said, cats have different thicknesses of fur, so
and it might make that white one just stand out more.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. So I finished these 2 cats. I finished this cat's
Let me see.
this collar and everything.
Oh, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah. And so then I started on this other cat using just 2 threads.
I think
like
if you had switched mid-cat, it would matter.
Yeah.
But a different cat.
Yeah. So I went ahead and So this one is done all in 2 threads, like I usually do. But
because God forbid you do 3.
But one thing.
So Beth just won't do an odd number of anything.
Yes, I'm going to talk about my even number fetish in a minute. But so the only thing is that I chose a kind of a darkish color.
But there's 5 cats. Are you going to make an extra cat?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
that doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't choose it. If I designed it, I would have designed
6 cats.
6 cats or 4 cats, but not 5. But anyway, the dark gray on his mouth and in between his legs right here. When I first glanced at it, I was like, did I do this part? Oh, I did it already, because it's very dark gray, and this same darkest gray is the 2 dark grays are on the fence line right here that the cats are sitting on, and the darkest gray I think will not show up, and so I'm gonna have to do. I think I'm just gonna do the fence like the two next lightest grays, because they're all in this pattern. There's like, I think it's 413, 414, and 415 are the 3 grays, and so I'm just gonna go 1 shade lighter on each of these 2 colors here, so that the fence line will show up a little better against this black fabric. But so my even number fetish, I think I can trace it back to elementary school in like I think 6th grade. It was 5th or 6th grade. I always get those 2 mixed up because I had the same teacher both years. Because I had this teacher, Mr. Miller, my 5th grade year, and then when 6th grade started, much to my chagrin, he had switched to teaching 6th grade, and I was in his class.
Like,
and I was
no.
he was an okay guy. He was a nice guy, but I really didn't want him again. But I ended up.
I don't think he was a good teacher at all.
But anyway, Mr. Miller would, at that time, it was a big fad, I guess, that we all ate sunflower seeds, and so
he let you eat sunflower seeds in school.
Yeah. So Mr. Miller was like, well, okay, you can do that, but I don't want the empty shells on the floor. So we all had these little, like, we would take notebook paper and make these little, like, trays or whatever, to put the used shells in. And so then so at people's desks, they had a pile of seeds that they're eating, and then this little, paper little tray of for the used shells, So while we were doing, like, seat work, sitting at our desks and working on other things, he would kind of walk up and down the aisles to make sure we were all working and everything. And so he would, take a couple of sunflower seeds from one person's desk and eat them.
That's
and then
why
as he
he
walked
let
around,
you eat them in class.
he would
Sorry, I'm cutting
put them in
threads
somebody
off
else's
this bag that are getting caught in my yarn. Sorry.
but put them in, in somebody else's little, trash tray or whatever. So anyway, so I was, eating sunflower seeds while I was doing work. And I would typically take a seed and put it in my mouth and do this work, and then take another seed, and I didn't want to chew them all on one side because I would, I would end up with like,
Okay, it didn't start
so,
there, Beth.
No. But this is
That was
where
when it manifested.
yeah. And so, sometimes I would go so long between sunflower seeds that I was like, wait, did I eat this on this side or on this side last?
No.
And because I was kind of alternating, right? And so that's called OCD. So because I couldn't remember, then I started putting 2 in my mouth at a time. So I would chew on one side, one on the other, but I had both in there so that I knew which one
What
I
I
was
can't
Right.
believe is that you remember all of this.
So yes, I
Yeah.
do because like I said, it was kind of a defining moment in my life. But anyway, so that's where it kind of where I started to really do that, and then from that point on.
So you put a cookie
it
on both
was-
sides of your mouth
no,
at the same time?
no,
No, but she wants 2 cookies.
no. But I'll get to that in a minute.
No.
No, we don't need to
No,
talk
but
about
what with things like that, typically like things like M&Ms or Reese's Pieces or Skittles, things like that there's a whole bunch of them and they're different colors, right? So typically, like at my desk at work, for instance, I would take the bag of M&Ms and dump them out on my desk like on a napkin or whatever, and I would eat them. I'll eat them 2 at a
What
time.
happens if there was one extra?
I'll get to
You
that.
bite it in half.
Yes. I'll get to that in a minute. So I do them. I eat them by color. So 2 yellow ones, 2 red ones, 2 orange ones, whatever,
But
right?
that's just strange.
I know.
She knows
So-
it's her quirk.
But if I had like 1 yellow one and 1 red one extra, I put them together because they're red and yellow. They're. So, but I would eat the yellow ones and the orange and the red ones first, and so that I save the blue ones and the chocolate ones and the
If
green
any
ones.
of you have a recommendation for a therapist, we would like that.
So I would do that, 2 at a time because I would eat one on one side and one on the other side.
Okay.
And then like if there was an odd one left over that I couldn't match up with anything, I would bite it in half and chew it on each side.
Okay.
But
So why can't you just take 3 M&Ms and bite one in half all the time?
well, nowadays it's different because typically, like if I because of my stroke and because of my acoustic neuroma and everything, I have no feeling on this side of my mouth, on the inside of my mouth.
But you still can't
So-
eat just one.
Just a minute. So
The plot thickens.
no, so
This is not
So
a
I
channel
chew
to catalog our neuroses.
what?
This is not a channel to catalog our neuroses.
So I chew everything on the left side now, because things just disappear on this side, and it's weird. Like if I try to chew something, it feels like I'm like what is stuck in my teeth. Like I can't close my mouth right, but I can't really feel it.
Okay.
So I chew everything on this side. So now, and typically now, if I eat M&Ms, I'm eating them at the movie theater. So I really can't tell what color they are. So I just, whatever. So it doesn't bother me.
They all taste
But-
the same.
I know, but it doesn't bother me. So I don't worry about what color they are or whatever, because I'm just eating them in the dark in the movie theater, so I can't see anyway. But so as far as eating cookies or whatever like that, I typically will only eat one at a time. But and because now I have to chew everything on this, it doesn't matter. But I always get even numbers. And like if I get ice in the ice machine, if I just put the cup in there and get ice, it doesn't bother me. But if I go sometimes like this, there's liquid in it, so I don't want to put it in the ice machine on the ice thing in the refrigerator because it would splash everywhere. So I would get ice cubes and stick them in there, right?
It has
Can
to
I
be
tell
in
you-
there.
And it has to be even numbers.
Can I
You
tell
do-
you how much it grosses me out when you
Oh,
dig in
whatever.
the ice machine?
I,
with your hands? It just
You want to know a secret? If I get you ice,
Mm-hmm.
I on purpose get odd numbers.
I don't, like I said, if I don't see it, I don't care. But if I'm getting it for myself,
We're
it's
not
a
laughing
wonder.
at Beth's OCD.
And
We're just
so-
laughing near her.
So yeah, it just even, and I just like, and like when it comes to,
I was trying to sit here trying to think if I have any compulsions like that.
I don't know.
I'm sure you do.
I think my compulsion is just to avoid everything all the time.
but so yeah, that's what it leads to all that. But right now I've got a little knot in here, and I don't know. It's not one that I can't.
Well, okay, so that leads into my discussion about this pattern because, so Casapinka has challenged us with this mystery knit along. I'll read this. It says here, optional head exploding challenge, as the cat would say. Sharon, this is from Sharon from Security, the kitty cat. As you work through this, I challenge you to ignore 2 of the slip 1 purl 1 with yarn in front from row 6. So slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front. So that's just slipping a stitch and leaving the yarn carried in front, which is near you, as opposed to in back, which is away from you. From row 6, and work them as purl stitches, like a mistake on purpose. Proof you didn't get this from Amazon. And while staying calm about it and not make it into a big deal, I'm trying to get people to realize that mistakes are not the end of the world in knitting, or most things. And like I say, if you can't see it from a speeding squad car, keep going. Remember how much I love Sharon snacks. And so from the last mystery knit along, we called mistakes Sharon snacks. If you do decide to do this, be sure and mention when posting that you have a code 166. That's what she's calling it. I'll post a photo of my code 166 next week. Will I look down on you if you have a code 168, which means no purposeful mistakes? Well, probably. But you have some work ahead of you, you code 168 perfectionists. So, so people are like, a lot of people are like, I made mistakes and I can't help it anyway, so, it's fine. But some people are like, they would rip out, not like what happened to you, because what happened to
I
you,
ripped out quite a bit of mine.
yeah, because, there's a point where you just can't fudge it, or like,
Mm-hmm.
you had some your cable twisted and it messed you up, so that kind of thing I understand, but what she's saying is really, seeing them like that shawl I made last year. I think when on the video I pointed out mistakes that I made.
I somehow messed up a row, and I just added another row and worked with it.
Right, exactly, and so it goes to what we talked about before, of sort of giving yourself grace. And actually, so I posted on the Facebook thing, I'm like, for all of you who are struggling with this, I said I was raised in New Mexico, and we talked about, putting a mistake in on purpose to release the bad spirits. And it was just more of embracing your humanity, I think.
Well, there's a mistake in this pattern that I'm working. And I thought about, emailing and, did you have a correction for this already? Because it's been out for a little while now. People have finished it. But I'm not going to show the pattern. But this little yellow right here, it doesn't go there. It goes somewhere else. It's there's a little yellow light in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't go there. And I saw it goes like right there instead of this white.
Oh, I see.
Instead of this white, that yellow goes right there. Because it's obviously not part of the house.
Oh.
And I looked, I'm like, I can't see it, but I'm not putting it there. I'm not putting a random yellow in the middle. And I'll bet you there are people that put that yellow spot there. Because it was in the pattern that way. And then put the little white square over there.
Yeah, there was something that I did recently. I don't think, maybe it was, I don't remember, but it was like a PDF pattern, but it had like no, I think it was that Christmas at Winterbury Cabin, something that there was some pattern that I had that had like a, because it was symbols of a color blocks that are fairly popular now, where the block itself is a certain color and that has a symbol in it. And so, like way off up here in the upper corner, like kind of off of the pattern, there was a block with a color, you know, and it just like totally non
Like
sequitur.
the computer.
Yeah, it didn't
did
make any
something
sense.
weird.
Yeah, or like, you know, you accidentally click on the
Yeah.
thing and it puts a picture thing there, and puts a symbol there, and you didn't mean to put it there. And so it was kind of like that, and I was like, okay, that clearly doesn't belong in there. I'm not putting it in
Right.
there. Yeah.
Right. Well,
But I think it was Caroline McNeil, Fight It Off the Grid, you know, was talking about how, you know, if you can't see it from 3 feet away, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
Because most people are going to look at it hanging on your wall. They're not going to go up there and stand in front of it like this.
Or you're going to
you know?
wear a shawl around your shoulders and no one's going to come and
Yeah.
inspect
I'm
it.
gonna go and look at it like this.
Yeah. No.
But if I saw a mistake, I wouldn't say anything.
Well, yeah, and who cares? So
Because I don't want anybody to say
Last
anything
year-
about mine.
last year, I did a whole row of a section wrong. And when I realized it, I was like, okay, I have a choice. I can do this whole section the same way, or I can rip it back and fix it. And I realized, no, I kind of like the way it looks. It was just a texture issue. I had done it backwards, I guess. I don't know what I did. Now, it's been a year and I've slept, but I just decided to do the whole section like that. And I posted it. I was like, here's my Sharon snack. I did this wrong, but I liked it, so I did it all wrong. Like, every time that row came up, I did it the wrong way, and it made its own pattern, and it was totally fine, and nobody cares.
Mhm.
So, actually, because I embrace mistakes, but I'm also slightly perfectionistic, I decided to, instead of just making 2 random mistakes in the section, I'm going to make 6 mistakes. And that's why I have these, because I don't know if you saw me counting, but I counted the sections.
Because you need
So
to
I'm gonna
spread
put-
them out.
I'm going to put 2 on this row, and then a good row, and then 2 on this row, and then a good row, and then 2 on the last row. And it's going to go like this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So it'll actually be a pattern of mistakes in the pattern. And that's my contribution to Code 166. I don't have a problem, but I would like it to look interesting. But what's nice is, and when I look back on last year's, I can look at each section and remember the things I learned and the things, you know. So that's kind of how this is going to be for me. I do have another mistake in this that's just on the edge further down. That's an actual mistake, but because I kept forgetting to, it has you do a garter stitch edge, and I kept forgetting down here, and I tried to ladder down and fix it, and I never should have done that. It's right here.
Her garter stitch edge looks so good compared to mine. I officially hate circular needles.
I don't know why.
Because
they're so much better than
I
straight
keep dropping it slides off the end. And because I learned how to knit with
straight
regular needles. And you know, those you can, to me, I can keep it on the needles,
To me, they're so much. Well, they are lighter, and they don't hurt your hands as much as that big heavy weight of the
I don't remember that
the
being a
straight
problem.
needle.
But
that's what they say.
But
But you
I
can
do
do it.
like the fact that I do like the fact that it's all like together. But I guess it's the way I knit. I keep untwisting the little tops off.
Well, that's everybody's problem with. So what you're talking about is
And then
what are they called? Interchangeable needles.
then the stitches won't slide up the needle.
Yeah, that happens to me also, and it's just the nature of the beast.
Well, it happens when I know that it's because I do this to make the stitches go the right way so that the stuff hangs down so I can grab it, and it ends up twisting the needle.
Yeah, so if you get that little, I know
that little thingy, but yeah.
Yeah, I have to tighten mine all the time. And actually what I do, Eve, is then every single time I come to the end of a row like this,
I've started doing that, going, okay, I need to tighten all my,
I just check it, make sure it's, and then you have to shove this one out. It's always the right hand needle. Whatever you were knitting with is the one that comes on this, the one you're actually knitting with is the one that comes loose.
actually, on my
It's your
hand.
left one?
Yeah.
Oh. You're weird. Okay, I made my first 2 Sharon snacks.
Well, when on this one, when I was working on it, I want to talk briefly about the other one I was working on, but when I got up to do his ear up here, I had put the pink, the inside of his ears, I put in already, a long time ago, I guess. And so when I went to do there's light gray around the ear, it wasn't lining up correctly. Because I'm like, wait, did I make a mistake here? No, that's right. No. And I realized that I had put the pink in wrong.
Oh.
So I had to take it out, and it was 100 years ago. So I had to take it out, and fortunately I was able to put it back in without it. I was afraid I was gonna not have enough thread. But I went ahead and tried to put it in because I thought, well, if nothing else, I can do like you do when you're playing thread chicken, and you're basically you just have a little piece of, you put the needle in first, and then you put the thread, and then pull it through. You put the needle in and put the thread in. When you have a very little, very tiny thing, and I kind of had to do that a little bit, but I did not run out of thread. And actually, I cut some off. I was able to finish it and pass it under and cut a little off.
Thread chicken is no joke.
Yeah.
Yarn chicken is worse.
But so I also had pulled out, because I had done the bottom row, 2 rows, row and a half of this going across here. I think when I was first stitching it, I had a piece of thread left, and so I did a little bit of this cat, because I think that this cat is the same color as part of this cat.
Mm-hmm.
So I had enough thread left over that I did part of this row, and I pulled it out because it was on this cat that I wanted to start the 2 threads instead of 4. So I pulled that out, and I started doing it. I was doing it differently. Instead of starting at the bottom, I was doing it vertically. So yeah, I had to pull threads out of this ancient project, but I had worked on this one.
Or what made you pick that old one up again?
I had
because you were working on that.
I've been wanting to work on some of my older whips,
Yeah.
and clear them out. And this one, like I said, I've had it forever, so I wanted to see if I could finish it, since I have a few more days until the September showstopper thing. But I had worked on this winter gathering, and last week I think I was working on these little half stitches on the tree here. But I wanted to do this
Birdie.
this gray, and I
with a
had,
little hat.
huh?
Birdie with a little hat.
So a couple of things. When I was doing the black here, I thought I had done it right, and then I went to do, there's 2 little gray stitches here, and I went to do those, and I'm like, wait, something isn't lining up here, and the stupid black thing was, it's 4 stitches, 5 stitches across or whatever, and I just left one out, but it was all one piece of thread, and then where this little there's one upper square, and I used that to count 2 over, and I put in, there's 2 little brown stitches, and because I had a little bit of brown thread left over, so I did those 2 stitches by themselves, and so I had to pull those out because they were in the wrong place, and the thread was too small to put, and in order to put those 2 brown stitches back in, I would have had to start a new thread, and I didn't want to do that, so.
You didn't embrace your mistakes.
No, so I didn't have the two brown threads. So well, because it was part of the bird and all that, and so it would have been in the wrong place, you know. But I wanted to do this dark gray. I kept pulling this thread out, thinking, okay, today I'll get to that part because I'm do this and finish it, and then I'll get to that thread, and then like things happened and blah blah blah, and so I kept I'll get to it next time. No, I'll get to it next time, and so I finally I did it, and because I do the Danish method, I stitch out and back whatever. So I had done all of this and gotten all the way over here and was coming back. I was like, this is not right. Something.
No.
And part of it is that because they're like, there's two here, and you skip one, and you do this, and so I had, and because this little bird is like right where this pattern splits. There's 2 pages,
Oh.
and so and because it's this dimensions kit, and they're like everything is like mostly, I think almost all red and green, but so there's red triangles and green triangles, and there's and so it's the same symbol but a different color or whatever, and so for me that's a lot harder to look at than like if you have colored squares
or even just black.
Yeah. And so, and I hadn't made a working copy or anything like that I could mark off, which I probably will have to do at some point. But
that's
anyway,
confusing.
So I had to go back. So I had basically had to pull everything out and start over because it was just so complicated, and I didn't know exactly where I'd made the mistake. I knew that up to a certain point it was right, but I had to yank everything else out. So I had spent a lot of time working on it, and I had to pull it all out.
And then
but it's finished now.
Wasn't it that you were working on when you were here the
Yeah.
other day? Oh, is that when it was?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was here. What were you here for?
I think it was Monday when I went to practice. Tuesday we went to practice.
No. We had lunch or something, late lunch, and we had rehearsal. Mm-hmm. So I brought you here.
Yeah.
To go to rehearsal,
Tuesday,
so you were just hanging out until time for rehearsal.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I had worked on it, and I had to pull it all out. But so
can we talk briefly about the news in Phoenix?
Oh yeah.
Yesterday, Naomi texts us and says Sunset Library's on fire.
Yeah,
and I had
this app. My husband found this app.
Just a sec. I had been at Dunkin' Donuts getting breakfast. Yes, I got donuts, but mostly I got bagels. And
when you didn't bring me any.
No. And from there, I turned left to go to my house on the main road, Chandler Blvd. And as I'm waiting at the light, here comes a big fire truck, and then another one, and I was like, something bad happened. Not in Ahwatukee, but something bad happened. And then right after that,
so I have this app that my husband found. I don't know how he found it, called Citizen, and it will alert you, or you can turn off the alerts, but you can look at it and it shows all police and fire activity in your area, and even across town or whatever. You can plug in, like we plugged in Boston one day just to see what was going on. And it doesn't really explain everything, but it was like, man with a gun at 48th Street and whatever. Actually, there was somebody brandishing a gun in Ahwatukee last night. But anyway.
That is not surprising.
So my son and I both have it, and we get this ping that says, structure fire at such and such address. So I looked at the map, and I knew that right next to the park there was a building, and that's the Chandler Sunset Library. And I was like, oh no. And then, so that's when I texted them, and I was like, the Sunset Library's on fire. And then as we started getting more pings, and
I think wasn't it Rachel that asked where that library was?
Yeah.
And you said random girl.
Yeah. But then I'm saying Citizen kept pinging, and then it gave a different address. So when I looked at it, it was the building next to the library. There's the library's freestanding, and then there's a shopping center building. Everything's
There's
connected.
YouTube video of this. Of this stuff.
So then it started saying explosion and hazardous chemicals, and all this. So I'm like, Eli, let's go. So we got in the car because I was like, I wanted to see if it was the library or what was burning there. And at the time they hadn't closed the road yet, but I talked to some neighborhood folks who said they felt it was an explosion, and they felt it in their house. Their whole house
Can you
shook.
imagine there's a little preschool
There's a
nursery
preschool
there,
right
and,
there.
and they had to take them out of there and put them across the street.
Yeah.
Can you
It
imagine
was,
the kids must have been so scared?
Yeah, it was a print shop that exploded. They're still investigating how and why, and I guess the people working there were
4 people
burned.
working there. I watched.
No one was killed, but they're, I guess, incredible.
I watched. They're in ICU.
There's one guy
I
in
watched
coma.
a video of the doctor talking about. He said, "I'm surprised they're alive, and that their injuries are not more serious, but it was all burns." And he said all 4 of them have burn. He said because they were wearing t-shirts and shorts, so they have burns to their arms and hands and legs and stuff. And he goes, so all 4 extremities are involved.
Yeah, they think it was one of the chemicals that was in the print shop. Whoa, man! So
Yeah.
that was
And the building, you know, it's the wall closest to the library is bowed like that.
Yeah, you can see it.
And there was a guy across the street with his dash cam. He was in a drive-through, and the dash cam happened to be aiming. It's, you know, across the street, you know, other buildings and stuff, but it happened to be aiming right there, and you can see the explosion. It's like, because it just goes so far into the sky, just.
And the whole roof of the building is gone.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised those guys survived. It was
They were
like
showing
bad.
video of the I guess cars in the parking lot, and there's one car that I think its windows are blown out. You know. And
Eli said there was a dash cam from someone at Circle K. You know that because there's a Circle K around the corner, and
I didn't
it's
see
at
that
the
one.
other end.
I saw the
He
one at
said he saw
Starbucks.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awful.
But it's
And you could see the guy at Starbucks with the dash cam. You can see his car go like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
there were people that were saying,
horrible.
you know, their
We're far
house
enough
shook
away.
and they
So we're just
were out, when
our main
their
road.
lights went out.
Yeah, our main road is a mile from that shopping center. So like we go, I don't know, less than half a mile to our main road, and then it's another mile. So we didn't, and then it's on the opposite side of that one. So we didn't feel it. Eli said, I thought I heard something, but we both had headphones in. We were watching our stupid phones or something. But yeah, and so the road as late as 4 or 5 o'clock. So that happened at 9 something in the morning. And as late as 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the road was still shut down.
And you know, in that same parking lot is a First Watch. So it was probably the only
It's a brunch place
business. Yeah, it's a breakfast and lunch place. It's probably the only business that was right there that was hopping at that hour. Because
the
First
print
Watch,
shop, obviously.
well,
and
I know, I don't mean open. I
Yeah.
mean, there was others I'm sure were open. The daycare was open. But First Watch, any day of the week, they, you know,
it's a brunch place.
yeah, they
pretty
get,
busy.
they're pretty busy, and they had to evacuate everybody because they weren't sure what it was. Was it gas? Was it?
Oh, what did I do?
You made a Sharon snack.
I made a big Sharon snack.
So, it's just
Wait a minute.
decide to work with it.
Wait a minute.
Did you skip a whole section? So
Speaking of
I'm just, you know, those poor people, and other businesses in that same shopping center, they probably have structural damage. They said that the walls separated from each other, and since they're all connected.
Sorry, I'm so mad.
What did you do? Did you start?
Well, okay, I was like, I'm gonna plan these mistakes. But what I didn't plan was I didn't read, and it said to go back to a particular row 5. But I went all the way back to row 1, so I put in two extra rows of the gray. So instead of this 4 row of gray, it's supposed to have only 2 rows of gray
That's
in
all
between these.
It's okay.
So I really made a big snack, and here you go. Oh my gosh. gosh. Now I'm gonna have to even it out on the other side. So it looks intentional. That's what I do with mistakes. Like, I meant to do that. Like Gimli. It was intentional. It was intentional.
Yeah, so if you want to see a really cool video of an explosion,
Yeah, look it up.
you can't, it's not, I don't know about the one in Circle K, I didn't see that one or hear about it, but the one from Starbucks, you can't see the building, you just see the
plume.
all the debris just all of a sudden go boom.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of news video from above of the devastation of that. They wouldn't pull back. I was like, pull back. I want to see the whole parking lot, see what it's like. But yeah, it was pretty interesting news. I'm glad that nobody was killed. You know, because it easily could have been.
Yeah, I read that there's the four people that were injured were all in ICU. One guy is in a coma, and the others they all had like burns, you know, to different degrees in their bodies. Yeah, some I think were getting skin grafts,
and two of them are brothers, right?
Yeah, two guys, brothers who own the printing business, and then two other people. So yeah, but fortunately, yeah, there was not more injuries and not more.
And as you know,
and no casualties. Yeah,
a skin graft is not the worst thing.
Yes.
But since it's their hands,
It's gonna
you know,
be really hard.
it can be very difficult.
Yeah.
Well, so many other things happen with burns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
infection and
yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
Dehydration and all that.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk briefly about. We went to the attic the other day,
Oh, what is this?
and I'll tell you in a
Look
second.
at this little tiny
Yeah.
thing.
So we went to the attic
Exact.
because, you know, like I said, we're doing we're doing a giveaway when we hit 100 subscribers.
Well, we went to the attic because
so,
I'm fascinated. Because I wanted this icicle for my white, and I only have this, and I had ordered it from them, and I was like, well, maybe there's something else I can use instead because it hadn't come in yet.
Yeah. So we went out there, and so while we were there, we got a couple of things for the giveaway.
When
So-
we reach 100, which
Yeah.
is, I think we need 6 more people.
No, 3. It went up
We're
to
back
97.
to 97 again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're 3 people away, and you guys can get a good price. Somebody can get a good price.
Really good price.
Really nice price.
So while we were there, I was missing some colors of Gloriana silk, and I ordered one from 123 Stitch because like I said, I was having trouble finding these. So 123 Stitch had one of the colors, and this is called Brick, I think. Yeah. But the other two, they didn't have those either. And this other online shop that I go to didn't have it. But when we were at the attic, I looked on the off chance, and I found the other two that I was missing. So I have all of the Gloriana silks for the Rabbit series now. While I was at 123 Stitch, the reason I went there was I was looking for the Rabbit series, and because I figured, it's August, the July, August, September issues should be out, and they are, all 3 of them, except I'm still waiting with the Rabbit August chart. It's on its way. It should be like today or tomorrow or whatever. So this is July and September. So I just had the August one, and
they look very similar.
yeah, and
No, they don't.
and then
So pretty.
what's the pattern? And Expo, the Needlework Expo is.
Oh, there's so many patterns.
What's today,
So
the
beautiful
27th?
patterns.
Today is the 27th.
Yeah.
Starts this weekend.
So tomorrow is the beginning of that, and I imagine the last 3, the October, November, December charts should be part of the expo if they're not anywhere else. So I'm anxiously awaiting those because then I'll have the whole year. And then I also found this La-di-da chart, Pumpkin Parade.
We'll put a picture here.
Yeah, which is very, very cute. I saw it and I thought, I don't need I don't need
That's
that.
5 little pumpkins
I'm
sitting
not
on a
there.
fence.
I'm not there to
Look
get
at
Have little
to get
pumpkins sitting on the
charged
fence.
for myself.
How does it go? 5 little pumpkins sitting on a fence. Mom used to sing that to us, or say that poem to us.
I don't remember after that.
That's so cute.
Yeah, then one that said something and rolled away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The witch said boo, and the something
Yeah.
something. That's cute.
Yeah. So I
That's really cute.
I saw
My
that
favorite,
on
my
the
favorite was the witch. I mean, the woman rocking in the chair,
And still she sat, and still she
Still
spun, and still she waited for someone to come.
and in came 2 pair of boots.
Mm-hmm. So
She was spinning yarn
yeah, she was
and haunted.
she was spinning. So
And the my mom told it with
a felt board.
with those little felt pieces, and she would put it on the little boots, and then and then she'd put on the little legs.
Oh yeah, it became a jack-o'-lantern.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Jack-o'-lantern guy,
Yeah.
who said boo.
But so while I was there at the attic, I saw the Stoneware Bunny, right? And I thought, oh good, this is a bunny. This is the one I've been looking for. And Eve said, don't you have that already? I said, no, I don't have that. I was looking for it, but I don't have it already. Yes, I did.
But you can give me one. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Okay.
find.
She's
I
like,
couldn't
"No."
find. They didn't have
Oh, what
The
did you get
icicle.
instead?
nothing.
Oh.
They didn't have it, and I looked at all. I looked at Gentle Arts. I looked at Con
To
Cotton.
find something
I
similar.
looked at I don't know. I looked at all of them. I looked at the other Weeks Dye Works, and Weeks Dye Works has one that has like pinks in it, but I don't want pink in it. I love
So
this one.
it's going to be Christmas 2023 before you finish that, because you'll be looking for that stupid thread.
Well,
for 2
actually,
years. For 5
I went
years.
ahead and ordered. I looked on 123 Stitch to see if they had it, and they were out too. And so, because the way Kimberly from Fat Quarter says that the way it works with these overdyed threads is that they do a batch. You have to wait until they do a batch, and then they send it out to whoever was first on the list.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I
But,
guess
okay.
they were first on the list because they had it.
Ooh, okay.
Fat Quarter Shop had it. So I ordered 3 from them. And the reason I did was because
So
Stitching
you
with the
have to have-
Housewife.
I'm sorry, you have to have 3 skeins for that pattern?
Look
Is
how
that what
much.
it says?
Look how much white.
She's just guessing.
Look. No,
Yeah.
it says
Oh, it says
times 3.
Oh.
And
Okay.
so
I was like-
I said I'm going to go ahead and order from there, because if it comes in at the attic, I'm going to buy that too, because Stitching with the Housewives came out with this pattern called Silent Night, and if you haven't seen it, oh my, it kind of is a companion to this. I don't know if I can dye 2 fabrics the same, but it's kind of a companion to this, and it has
really?
even more white.
Oh, wow.
And I thought,
Just get it all.
I'll go ahead and get the whites that I like, because I really like that icicle white, and that way, when I
2021.
eventually get the
2021, the year Eve became obsessed with the white thread.
but that one will probably be for next Christmas, because
So while I was checking out at the attic, they had these little little basket of little freebies that you could get, and so some of them had the pattern, and then there was also a little like cardboard envelope kind of thing with I think fabric and thread or whatever in the that you could get. But they had these little bundles also that are little kits. So
I
it's
was wondering, it's so tiny.
yeah,
Take
it's
a
a
picture
little
of it.
it's a little the pattern, and then folded inside here is fabric and a little piece of thread, and it's all just like a
Tied with the ribbon.
red rope.
what
Yeah,
is the pattern of?
You don't know?
it's just Yeah, it's just a little
A little, what does that say? What?
lanyap.
Lanyap. Melinda.
So you don't know.
No, it's just like a little geometric kind of pattern.
It's got gingham and an Ada and thread.
It's a little
Yeah,
kit.
22 count
It's a
Hardinger,
It's a little kit.
basically. Yeah.
It's a tiny little kit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that was free. Yeah.
Oh, they said they had them free?
It was a little,
that's
you know,
fun.
yeah, because you could get the little freebie individual things.
Everybody else
Or
went to summer
you could-
school. We just went.
Oh, wait, there was some.
There was some event. There was an event there.
Oh, that place is dizzying. I mean, I'm not a cross stitcher. That, you know, I can and I have, but I go in there and I want to like stitch everything, but it's overwhelming.
Mhm.
I haven't. Sometimes I look in the cases at the front where they have all that beautiful stuff, and they have bags that are $1 million, and they have, you know, it's just beautiful. But like every nook and cranny has something, and something that I want. Even though I'm like, I'm never going to do this, but I want it all. I want to do it. I want to be the person who does it. But it's an incredible place. I like that place.
Yeah.
I have not
But,
been to
yeah.
Tempe Yarn and Fiber in a long time, but I did buy wool this week. Did I tell you?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, a couple weeks ago, I fell in love with this. I had this old wool in my box
Oh, yeah.
called Cotswold.
Yeah.
And I started spinning it just like, I'm just going to spin this. I was like, what is this? It's beautiful. I love it. It spun beautifully. It spun easily. It wanted to be nice and thin. And I did it in basically a day. And then I applied it. And some wool, you just cannot do that in a day. But anyway, it just was like a dream. And I'm like, I want more of this. So my friend Sonia, who is my my dealer, she's like, I have these. She put on Instagram, I have these breeds that are, you know, I'm doing a deal on them. Message me. So I was like, do you have Cotswold? So she's like, yes, I do. So I went out there because last Friday I went out for eggs. She didn't have her cooler, so I thought she wasn't home. I rang the bell. She didn't answer. I rang twice. She didn't answer. So I got in my car and I emailed her. I said, I must have missed you. And I drove away. And she emailed me as I was driving away. I was here. I must have been in the back. So anyway, we missed each other. So I had paid her for the eggs, but I didn't get them. So she's like, you need to come out and you can get your eggs and then you can look at this wool. So I went out Wednesday and I got 6 more bumps of wool. And she showed me, and they're from a sheep named Darcy. Mr. Darcy. And she goes, I also have this. It's a little bit different color, and it's from a sheep called Charlotte Lucas. I guess all the sheep in that herd are named from Pride and Prejudice. But I was like, Charlotte Lucas. I kind of want it just because it's the sheep named Charlotte Lucas. But then she had she had some there. Wool from what's a hogget fleece, which a hogget fleece is the very first cut of a sheep, you know, who, you know, it's their very first year being sheared, and it's always much softer. And so I was like, I want 2 of those too. That one doesn't have a name, but that sheep. But it's so I think I'm gonna.
They didn't name his
spin
sheep.
that. Well, they might, but she doesn't know. You know, some people are weird like that. Not weird, but some people name their sheep and some people don't. So this particular flock didn't have a particular name, but for the one that had the hogget fleece, but the other flock was all Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, I have 6 more 4-ounce packages of Mr. Darcy to spin, and I'll see what I'm gonna make out of it. But it's pretty nice. So that was my only acquisition this year. I mean this week, not this year.
I bought a
This
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I almost bought another layer cake.
Oh no.
But
Yeah, I guess
but
I
I
guess
didn't.
Missouri Star was having some big old sale, but
I only looked at their.
I haven't. I've forbidden myself to look. So I have so many projects. I really need to finish my
Yeah,
projects.
well, I'm kind of looking for something. I think I want to try to make Robert a quilt. I haven't even made my
Finish
quilts.
your quilts first, and then
I haven't even made my
I know.
quilts.
I know how. It
But
goes.
I finished. I quilted that
The bag.
the bag. I didn't do a lot of quilting on it. Just the outside edges across like this.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to quilt on the little inside ones. But there was one where, you know how if you fold it wrong, there's a pleat,
Yeah.
right? And I was quilting, I was like, there's a pleat here. And I looked at how even the things were and everything. I said, I'm leaving it, and I stitched right over it because it looked good the way it was. So I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to. I have the handles half stitched. I need to quilt the handles, and then I'm ready to start putting it together.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge bag, by the way.
Well, that's nice.
So it'd be great for a sweater or something. I think. I thought about putting cutting it at the bottom where it'll sit up on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't see the pattern, the whole
The quilt
pattern on both
yeah.
sides. So if I had stuck another row of the sashing
Something
fabric in between,
Yeah.
maybe. But I think
it's
I'm
okay.
good. I think I'm good with it, like it is. So it's been well over an hour.
Yeah. We've been chatting.
Yeah.
We've been chatting. Well,
And I
next
gotten to a good stopping point.
Next week I'll come with my stories of Boston and maybe some photos. I'm
I
so
get
excited.
most of this up to the bottom
Well,
of
you know
this
what?
cat.
I'm not going to start this row because I don't want to have to put it away mid-row. But because after this, I'm going to go do laundry.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done with this house.
Cool.
I got this part of the cap done.
I was working on this green,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, matches the colored cotton green. Colored cotton, is that what she uses?
Mm-hmm.
Classic Color Works.
Yeah.
Because I
Colored cotton, classic color, which are actually the same.
so I
Same brand.
I held up the Classic Color Works to the Week Star Works. I picked one that was the same, and I'm like, what color is that? Because it's kind of like a weird color. I like this other green better, but there's two greens in the pattern. But I'm like, that's the color it would have been, and this teal is very much like the really tealy. I just wanted to go ahead and use, but I didn't want to count from here down to here because counting is hard. So I just held it up here.
Perfect.
And just parked it.
Yeah, but without a needle. I just kind of put it up there. Anyway. Now, next week, we will tell you about the giveaway if we are over 100. So go ahead.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yes. Invite 3 of your friends and
Let's make it 1,000.
don't get greedy. But we were very excited and so grateful for the support for our 411 project. It's coming along very nicely, and we will update you on that as we get more materials and get ready to start sewing. We're probably going to have more than one make day because I think we're going to be
I'm going to
gonna
have to
be-
start cutting fabric.
we're going to start cutting fabric soon so that we can have. it'll
I
be
don't know
more
why you were
streamlined.
thinking one make day. I was thinking ongoing make days.
Well, I was trying to be I didn't realize it would be such a great response actually. I was not believing, but now I am. So,
I love it.
anyway, I'm just holding this up and admiring it in the camera. I'm not trying to show you anything, I'm just looking at it. But I like it. I love these colors. So that other one I have goes with when I wear olives and greens, and this will go with all my blues and stuff.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we went to lunch with one of the people who gave us one of those donations. He's like, I'm going to give it to you, but I want to take you to lunch. So we went. And we went to a restaurant up here called Perfect Pear. It was an Arctic freezer in there, and I was so glad that I'm taking my restaurant shawl, my big Find Your Fade that I made, that big giant thing. I wrapped up in that, and I ate like that because it was so cold in there.
I've taken to keeping a little jacket in the car because for myself, if I'm like in the movie theater or something freezing, but let's just say it was 111 yesterday, like end of August.
I know.
What the heck? But my dad has used it more than I have.
Sure. Well, and the thing is that when it's that hot outside, the reason this happens is when it's that hot outside, you have to super cool a building to keep it cool. Because if you don't, you walk in and at first you think, oh, it's air conditioned in here, and then you just start sweating because the especially in like big stores like Joann's,
Hobby Lobby,
they get so hot because there's pockets of hot, and it's just overwhelming, and the heat at the top of the building is just like, coming down, and the air conditioners are fighting it, and
you could tell even like in our living room when it gets like in the afternoon or whatever. I remember what I was doing, and I went to go look out the window, that front window. And you can feel on the floor, it's that stone tile stuff. But as you get near the window, it's hot,
Well, like any western facing wall will heat up. Like in our bedroom,
that's why I have trouble sewing in the afternoon because
and it's all windows there. Our whole master bedroom window right here, our master bedroom's right there. That whole wall, like if we're laying in bed in like 5 o'clock in the evening, if you're like taking a nap or something, you can feel the heat off the wall. It's really bad. And so when we bought this house, so our front door faces south, and these windows all face north. But and then we have eastern facing windows over here, which is really nice during the day. It brings a lot of light into the house. But when we were like, okay, we want this house, and then like that night, I think we had put an offer in and everything, and I was laying in bed and I sat up and I'm like, Mark, which way does that front door face? And we were like, let me think, which way? We like thought about the streets and like, okay, the front door faces south. Okay. Because I was like, I am not buying a house with a western facing door.
Like
when we grew up, and you would get home from school and you could not touch the doorknobs, and that door would just.
Our podiatrist,
even in New Mexico.
Our podiatrist, the door faces east, and they have the handles covered with foam and stuff, because otherwise you won't be able to open the door
in the mornings. But like there's a house, as you drive down my street, it curves around, and there's a house right at the curve, and it's a big 2-story house, and it faces west.
Gosh.
And in the evenings I drive and I'm like, I don't know how you live in that house.
Yeah,
I would sell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and if you look at like listings around here, real estate listings, they all say which direction the house faces or whatever.
And it was nice, and there's really no windows for us on the southern facing wall. There's just the bathroom window. In that room, which is kind of nice. And so our room actually stays pretty dark, which I like. But but that wall, Mark's always like, there's not enough insulation. I'm like, it's just 120. There's nothing you can do about it. It's 110 for real outside, maybe 15.
We're not kidding. It's 110.
It actually is. And then the sun just builds and builds and builds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awful. You see so many houses where the paint is just faded.
Yeah.
From the sun, or even like the mailboxes. I was telling Dad, he's like, the mailbox where you guys get your mail looks horrible. And you go around the corner to the other one, and he's like, how come that one looks so nice? I'm like, Dad, it's because yours gets beaten by the sun.
That's why when he was having trouble opening it, one of those times, our mailbox, we couldn't open it. We needed it to be rekeyed. He came in and he was just drenched. I'm like, why? He was like, we just stood there, and somebody else even tried to help me to open the thing. I'm like, Dad, If it doesn't open, walk away.
Well, and I went to the bank yesterday, and it was across the street from the explosion, and it was in the afternoon. It was like 3:30, so I expected, maybe it would be, the road was still closed, but I was like, maybe it'll be, it's a bank. It says open till 5, but it was closed. And I don't know if maybe they evacuated or whatever. But so I went, so they weren't open. I just needed to deposit some checks. So there's an ATM right there. Well, that ATM is western facing at 3:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, I couldn't see the screen, and you can't touch the buttons, and you're standing on concrete, and you're facing concrete, and Eli and I were standing there, and it was like literally standing.
Who planned this?
In a frying pan. And there was a guy at the ATM next to me, and I was like, if I'd have known they were closed, I would have gone to the one with the shady ATM. Like, I know which banks I can go to at which hour. There is one on Warner and McClintock that you cannot go to in the afternoon. You can only go to in the morning for the same reason. It's a drive up. Oh, no, it's the other way around. That one faces east. So you can go there in the afternoon.
Because it can get pretty hot
there in the
morning.
The one over, I should have gone to the one in Awatuki on Ray and 48, because that one faces north and it's in a shade thing. But this one, so I was standing there and I'm like, I'm so hot. So I had my mask. Okay, so I put my mask on because I thought the bank was open. So I go to the door and it's not open. So then I go to the ATM and I'm standing there sweating, and until I turned finally to my card did I realize I still had my mask on outside. I'm like, okay, that made it 10 times worse. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to go to Boston where it might be humid, but it's not this hot. But Hannah has no air conditioning. But the condo we're staying at has air conditioning.
A lot of
It
places.
is beautiful. Oh my God.
I watch
I don't
these
know if my
YouTube
friends watch
videos
this,
where
but
they're
I
like,
saw-
it's so hot and we don't have any air conditioning, and I'm like, oh, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
I can't imagine that. I know. Hannah's new place, she says she thinks has air. So she said she went back the other day, and okay, so her bedroom doesn't have a closet, and so we were like, we need to buy a rack, and they went to visit it again to make sure, check the space and everything again, and she said the person who left me a rack. I'm like, yes. Thank goodness. So.
Technically, if it doesn't have a
I know you
closet,
always
it's
say
not
that,
a bedroom.
but it is, because it's the mean streets of Boston, and they sell whatever they can sell, however they're going to sell it. So, and in New York, this table would be the size of an apartment. So what are you going to do? And they don't have no closet. So, but yeah, I know. But it's a bedroom, and they're selling it as such. So, but maybe they count the little one in the hallway as the closet for that, but I don't know. I have no idea. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Legally, it's not a bedroom.
Well, legally, we're paying rent for it, so who cares? But
For
anyway.
it to be a bedroom, it has to have a closet and a window.
Okay. Well, I will tell her realtors that and say.
Does it have a window?
I'm sure. Yeah, actually, it has more windows than the others.
Because if it has a window, that's the most important thing, because you can buy something, put your clothes in, but if there's a fire or something, you want to be able to get out.
Yeah. We're excited about it. She's excited.
I'm so happy that she's getting someplace with a roommate, because,
she was good. She enjoyed having her own space, but I think it would be good. Well, and CJ's so sweet, and
just fun. Be able to.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be so lonely. So, which is, it can be good and bad. Sometimes you just need your space.
I know, but
no, she's good. It's all good. I worry that it's a little bit further out. I think I'm going to get her one of those birdie alarm things, and I might talk to her about us all getting, especially if he moves to town, getting Life 360. Not to spy, but to just make sure everybody's safe. So I'm just looking at my shawl. I'm so happy with it. Well, thank you for joining us. We better go.
And
I have to go
we
do
said that
laundry.
thing happened yesterday. It happened on a Thursday. Today we're filming
Today's actually
early.
Friday.
We're filming early because I have to take her to the airport at 3:30 in the morning.
3:30 in the morning, we go to the airport. We fly
As
out
we
at
call
5.
it, the butt crack of dawn.
A family is the only person you can ask to take you to the airport at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, when you fly to the East Coast, you have to leave early.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get there at midnight, and we're getting it at 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm so excited. It'll be so nice. And Hannah's gonna cook dinner for us. And we're staying in this beautiful condo that my friend owns. She's so generous to let us stay there. And I'm just really looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna try to teach. So I get to see my other children, my adopted children, Hannah's 2 friends. They're so sweet. And so we're gonna try to teach them how to play hand and foot.
Ah.
Or beans.
Hand and foot.
So that they can play with Hannah.
Yeah. Play hand
Wanna
foot in
play?
ages.
I know, we have to play. We gotta do it.
We never have
All right.
time for anything.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.